I read this book, Getting Rid of Boat Odors, by Peggy. I learned a lot. I read it flying around the country, sitting in airplanes. I think the people next to me thought it was a little strange. This is my holding tank. It's a steel tank encased in fiberglass. The tank itself appears sound, but all of the hoses are old, cracked, permeated with stinkiness. My primary issue with replacing hoses is the pump out hose. I can't actually get my hands in here to release these hose clamps and fit a new hose, and as you can see here, the present one is leaking, and I can't figure out if it's bubbling up between the rubber hose deck fitting or if the leak is higher up at the deck level. But you can see all this nastiness that has dripped down, and it's all pretty stinky. Here's my holding tank air vent to the right. It's undersized according to Peggy. I need to have a larger vent. I believe it's 1.25 inches. The pump out hose is the lowest hose at the bottom of the tank. This right here is an issue because that means there is always standing liquid in the lower hose, and the principle behind rubber hoses, what I've learned from the book, is that they should be empty or have clean water in them. If you have dirty standing water in a rubber hose, even a marine sanitary hose, it will eventually permeate and get stinky. That is the forward head hose, 2-inch. I should replace this tank with a new tank that has all of its fittings on the top side. Unfortunately, there are no stock tanks from a local supplier, Ronco Plastics, that match the dimensions of the cabinet. So I could cut this piece of plywood away and fit a larger tank. I would just have to reinforce the settee seating with some additional framing. I'm not afraid of that. This is an existing tank design from Ronco Plastics. In inches, it's 40 by 20 by 10 high, approximately 30 gallons of capacity. This tank would give me about 4 inches of clearance on the top side for all of the hose fittings. From the two heads, inlets each 1.5 inches in diameter, which is what an electric head utilizes. I would have to upgrade my forward head from the manual pump to electric, or I could keep the forward manual and simply install an inlet that's 2-inch versus 1.5 inches. My takeaway from the book was that if you can have fresh air circulating in the tank, that minimizes the anaerobic bacteria. So I designed this with 2 vents, thinking I could repurpose an existing through hull on the port side and have some cross ventilation. In my current slip in the afternoons, the wind's on my starboard side, so I could have it blowing into the starboard vent and exiting the port side naturally. And this would be using 1-inch vents, 2.5-inch outlet connections, one for a macerator pump to go over the side when offshore, and the second would be for the deck through hull fitting. Thinking it's cleaner to just have 2 separate outlets, and I can put a valve right on the top of the tank for the overboard pump, so I don't have to go down into the engine room to open and close that valve. It'll be as simple as lifting the seat cushion. I've been holding off on committing on any of these upgrades because the location of this tank is bizarre. It's under the galley table, which is an uphill pump from both heads by several feet. I've been aboard another CHB, same model, that has 2 holding tanks, one for each head. The forward tank is under the V-berth, aft of the anchor locker, and then the aft head has a tank underneath the aft bed. We've discussed deleting the forward head and making that space a dedicated shower. However, we have guests on board several times per year, and it is nice having that second head. The current space could be better utilized for a number of different applications. I've thought about making that a cold plate, built-in freezer. It'd also be a great place to install 1 or 2 air conditioning compressors. So I don't know. I've been going in circles on this for a number of months, and in the end, I think the easiest path is to just install a new tank in the present location. If you've been through tank replacement and have some advice for me, or just have some ideas, I'd love to hear them. Let me know.